Buongiorno! Today I'm going to be doing my November favorites. So I actually had a pretty great reading month in November. I managed to read 7 books and I participated into the Fall into Fantasy readathon. I'm so proud of myself because I daily vlogged almost to every single day of the readathon. I uploaded a daily reading vlog and I had so much fun. The first book I read in November was The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. Unfortunately, I don't have it because I had to return it to the library. But I absolutely loved this book. It was so adorable. Art style was so cute. Oh my god, the tea dragons are the cutest thing ever. I wish I had my own tea dragon. They're just so adorable. And the story was just so heartwarming and beautiful. And it was also so diverse. Like, all of the characters were people of color. There was like an inkling of like a female-female relationship. There was a relationship between 2 guys. One of the characters is in a wheelchair and another character suffers from severe memory loss. Just overall, this book was just so wonderful and it made me feel so happy. If you need a quick pick-me-up, definitely check this one out because it's wonderful. Next, I listened to and also read A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. Sabaa Tahir is ruthless. This book was brutal. It was painful and so many terrible things happened. Most people survive, but barely. A lot of people get tortured. A lot of people die in the most brutal, horrific ways. I wouldn't put it past Sabaa Tahir to like kill everybody in the last book, and I'm like really terrified for the last book. And I'm also excited, but mostly terrified that she's just gonna kill everybody or make them suffer endlessly. I can't really say much about this because it's the 3rd book in the series, but I really loved this. It's definitely the best book in the series, and I also listened to the audiobook while reading, and the audiobook is amazing. There's a narrator for every point of view in the series, and each narrator and voice is done so well. I saw this meme on Twitter when the Thank You Next song came out by Ariana Grande. There was this meme and it was like, it had all the books in the series. You maybe have seen it on Twitter. It was like, one taught me pain, one taught me pain, it's all pain. So true, it's so true. And Sabaa Tahir, why do you hate us so much? Just, can't our babies just be safe and happy? No, you just gotta make them suffer in every single page. Why? Now I'm getting into my Fall into Fantasy books, so I'm not gonna go too in depth because like I said, I did reading vlogs every single day and I pretty much already talked about all of my thoughts for each book. Check out those vlogs if you want more in depth. So the first book I read was a novella. It was Proposal by Meg Cabot. This is a novella from the Mediator series. It was super cute, super short, and I really liked it. Really much to say about it. It was 40 pages, really short. Next, I finished Pride by Evie Savoy. Oh my gosh, this book was amazing. I listened to the audiobook, and the book is amazing. It's narrated by Elizabeth Acevedo. Oh my god, she's incredible. This is a Pride and Prejudice retelling of an Afro-Latinx family in Bushwick, New York. And I just loved every single thing about this. I love the family dynamics, the romance, all of the characters. I love how the neighborhood that this takes place in is almost like a character in itself, the way it's talked about. American Street, Evie Savoy's debut, it was so amazing. I never thought she could ever top it, but she did with Pride. It was one of the best Pride and Prejudice retelling stories I've ever read, and also one of the best books I've ever read. I don't understand why people are not yelling about this book. It's so good, and I've heard nobody talk about it. It's so amazing. I really wish more people would read this and Evie Savoy's other book because she's such a phenomenal writer, and I really want more people to read her. Next, I finished Crooked Kingdom, this hunker of a book. I'm so proud of myself for reading this during the readathon. It was a huge commitment. This is almost 600 pages, but I managed to finish it during the readathon, and I had so much fun reading Crooked Kingdom. Again, I already talked most of my thoughts about Crooked Kingdom in my reading vlogs, but I did want to say that there's some Grisha series cameos in this, and I was just screaming when I was reading them. Oh my god, Nikolai shows up and he talks to Kaz, and it's the coolest scene ever. And then Jenna shows up and she talks to Wyland and Jesper, and then I think her name is Zola. She's like a Grisha that shows up in the last book, Rune and Rising. I could be wrong, I don't really remember her name. I cannot wait for King of Scars because it's gonna be Nikolai's book, and Nina's also gonna be in it, and we're probably gonna get like some tiny little cameos from the Six of Crows gang. I'm so excited. I loved this book. It was so much better than Six of Crows, and Six of Crows was already amazing. I really loved how this book had multiple heists and multiple different like schemes. Six of Crows was all about breaking into the ice court, and yeah, there was like a couple hundred pages of them preparing for it, but the majority of the book was just them breaking into the ice court, and it was really great and everything, but I really enjoyed this one so much more because it had multiple schemes. So happy I finally picked this up because I've been putting it off for forever, and of course I gave this 5 stars. All the books I read, and now I'm gonna move on to movies. Really movie, but I did watch some stand-up this month, and I'm such a stand-up like noob. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was just browsing stand-up shows and I found Ali Wong's specials and I watched them and I loved them. She's so funny. I loved her specials, and she also did her specials when she was like super pregnant. Like, damn girl, you slay. Something so familiar about her comedy, I couldn't really put my finger on it. And then in one of her special, I think the Baby Cobra run, she mentioned that she actually writes for Fresh Off the Boat, and I was like, oh my god, that makes so much sense. And then I watched this completely random comedian, Aditi Mittal. I don't know if I'm saying her name wrong. I'm sorry. Really enjoyed her comedy special. There were a couple of jokes I didn't really understand because she's Indian and her target demographic is Indian people, so a lot of her jokes were like cultural references and like Bollywood references. And even though I have watched quite a lot of Bollywood, some of the movies she was talking about I never watched before, and I was just like, what is she talking about? But other than that, I really enjoyed her special, and I really want to check out more stand-up. I really don't know what I'm doing with stand-up. I know comedy is very subjective, so I can't really ask for recommendations because what I might find funny, somebody else might not find funny. But if you guys have watched those specials that I talked about and you really enjoyed them, and if you want to recommend me other stand-up shows that are similar to those, also by female comedians, please do, because I'm such a noob in stand-up and I really want to get more into stand-up, but I don't know what I'm doing. Next, I watched the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society. So I've been wanting to watch this movie forever. I saw the trailer like 4 times and I was so excited for this movie. I think I might have hyped it up a little bit too much because I did feel a little underwhelmed by the movie. It was still really amazing and I really enjoyed it, but I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what I got. I did love how it was a story within a story. Like, there's a mystery going on, there's also a romance happening, and there's this whole book club thing. My favorite scenes were the book club scenes. I really love that scene where all of them are like sitting around in a circle together discussing the Brontes, and they're having this like very lively discussions about which Bronte is better and which one is more influential and everything. And it was just so beautiful to see. It really reminded me of when I used to run my school's book club, and we used to have discussions like that, not necessarily about the Brontes because we would read a lot of YA books. The cinematography was really beautiful in this movie, and I really love how there's so many themes of like writing and literature and how important it is and how it can really shape you, influence you, also just be a coping mechanism through all the harsh realities because it does take place post World War II. I really enjoyed this movie so much, and I do really want to check out the book. I feel like I might like the book better because there's so many things in the movie that weren't necessarily really well developed. I definitely want to check out the book, and I recommend this movie to any book lovers. I think you'd really enjoy this one. Next, I watched The Hate You Give book to movie adaptation. Oh my god, I was so excited for this one. It's been a while since I read the book, so I only really noticed a couple changes to the movie storyline, but other than that, they still kept the heart and the emotion of the story, and I just loved it. I was bawling my eyes out the whole movie. It was so intense and emotional, and I really loved it. The way the movie just came to life was just beautiful. I loved everything. The casting was amazing. The way they shot everything was great. I don't know what else to say about this movie other than go watch it and go read the book. Know the story, experience the story because it's powerful and important. Last but not least, I watched Bohemian Rhapsody. So I'm not a huge Queen fan, like I'm not like a diehard fan, but I do enjoy some of their songs and I appreciate their musical legacy. The Bi rep is pretty terrible, and I've heard the Indian rep is terrible as well, but other than that, I really enjoyed the movie. I loved getting a glimpse into them recording Bohemian Rhapsody and to like the band dynamic, and we got like behind the scenes look into like Freddie Mercury's life and the different band members and how they started. Well, I really enjoyed this movie, and I definitely would recommend it if you're a Queen fan, or maybe not because it did get some pretty bad reviews from some Queen fans. And last but not least, TV shows. So I didn't really watch any new TV shows this month, so I'm not really going to talk too much about it. I've mostly been watching the same TV shows I always watch. Supergirl, Fresh Off the Boat. I will say this season of Supergirl is stressing me out. Every time I watch an episode, I'm just like so stressed out because the plotline is very similar to what's happening in America right now. The whole like anti-alien sentiment going on in Supergirl and like the hate crimes, it's very much what's happening in America with like the anti-immigrant sentiments. Supergirl is like, haha, no, let me remind you of all the terrible things happening in America right now. And it's just like stressing me out so much. Definitely is not my favorite season of Supergirl. I really hope they dial it down a bit because it's really, really intense. Not my favorite because of the viewing experience. It's definitely like very well written and the content is really good. It's just the things that makes me feel are really unpleasant and I'm not about that. And I also finished my rewatch of Charmed and oh my god. I watched the last episode and I was just bawling my eyes out. Like this TV show just means the world to me and this is technically my third time watching it. So when Charmed was on, I watched a couple episodes like on and off. I never really watched the whole thing through and then a year after it ended, I watched the whole season from start to finish. And then this is my first time watching it in like 10 years. Wow, it's been a while since I watched Charmed. This rewatch was really wonderful. It really made me remember why I love Charmed so much and why it's just like an empowering and powerful and wonderful show. I will say the last season of Charmed is like the weakest. There's so many things that they just screwed up and I have a million complaints. My biggest thing is I'm so mad that they introduced like Phoebe's like future husband 5 episodes to the end. And there was a lot of things happening, like with the whole like overarching plot, there was a lot of things happening in the last 5 episodes of the show. So introducing her like love life while all of these super intense plot things were happening was just ridiculous because most of the time the episode would be revolving around the plot line and then there'd be like a couple clips of Phoebe's love story and they just pretty much just rushed everything. And as much as I really like the guy she ended up with and I really liked them together, I really would have liked more than just 5 episodes, which really, if you splice all the scenes that we see together, I bet you it's probably like only like 2 episodes, not even 5. So I really wish they had introduced her love interest earlier. We could have gotten more scenes with them together. And they kind of did the same thing with Paige, but at least they did a little bit better with Paige because they introduced her husband like halfway through the season. So we got like, I think like what, 10 episodes with him to see them together a little bit more. But I still was just really mad how they did that. And they just rushed so many things. The last season was just a complete mess. And it's sad that it was such a mess for such an iconic and wonderful show. But it did run for 8 seasons and it had a really great run. Charmed meant so much to me when it was first on and it still does, and it's definitely going to be one of those shows that I'm going to be rewatching like forever. This is my second, technically third time rewatching it. I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch it for 5th time. I can never get sick of the show. It's just so wonderful. But anyways, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below your favorite book, movie, or TV show that you devoured in November. My social media links are all down below. My Twitter, my Bookstagram, my Goodreads. Arrivederci!